The 1960s weren't just about cars. They were about memories, freedom, and the open road. Each car carried a story. First dates, family trips, late-night drives with the radio turned up. If you missed part one of our journey through the 100 most loved cars of the 1960s, I encourage you to go back and start there, because every car tells a piece of history. But don't worry. In this second part, we'll continue uncovering the machines that defined a generation. Some will spark nostalgia, some may surprise you, but all of them remind us why we fell in love with cars in the first place. So buckle up. Part 2 starts now. The Chevrolet Kingswood wagon was the family hero. Room for kids, dogs, groceries, and half the neighborhood baseball team. It was the car that took you on vacation and brought you home with stories. Pontiac's safari wagon added a little extra style to family life. Chrome trim, bold lines, and a car that made even errands feel like an event. The Ford Country sedan was the workhorse of suburbia. Big enough for Sunday drives with the whole family. Simple enough that Dad could fix it in the driveway with a wrench. Buick's Skylark carried youthful energy. Sporty and sharp, it was perfect for someone who wanted a Buick, but also wanted to feel the thrill of the open road. Oldsmobile's Starfire was flashy and powerful. It was the car you bought if you wanted your neighbors to peek out the window when you pulled into the driveway. The Chrysler Windsor was reliable elegance, smooth ride, big body, and that Chrysler touch of class that reminded you America could build world-class cars. The Dodge Pioneer gave drivers an affordable full-size ride. Sturdy, sharp, and always dependable. It was the kind of car that stayed in the family for years. Studebaker's Champ pickup truck showed that even smaller brands could make something tough. It wasn't just a work truck. It had character, something today's trucks have forgotten. The Rambler Rebel brought performance to the Rambler name. Affordable but exciting, it gave everyday drivers a taste of speed without breaking the bank. Chevrolet's Brookwood wagon was practical but still stylish. With a wide body and classic Chevy charm, it made hauling groceries look good. Pontiac's Star Chief was a highway cruiser. Big, long, and smooth, it made road trips across Route 66 feel effortless. The Mercury Colony Park wagon, with its wood panel sides, became an icon of family life. It was more than a car. It was the vehicle of summer vacations, picnics, and roadside diners. The Cadillac Series 62 wasn't just a car, it was a rolling statement of success. Tail fins high, chrome shining, and interiors that whispered luxury. The Ford Sunliner convertible was pure joy on four wheels. Top down, radio up, cruising under the summer sky. It was the American dream in motion. The Plymouth Belvedere brought style to the everyday driver. Affordable, practical, but still carried those sharp 60s lines that made it stand tall. The Buick Special was small for a Buick, but still had class. It offered drivers a chance to own something elegant without the price tag of the Electra. Oldsmobile's Fiesta wagon was the family hauler with flair. It was the kind of car kids remembered riding in years later. The smell of vinyl seats still stuck in their memory. The Imperial LeBaron stood tall in luxury. With details no one else bothered with, it felt like driving a piece of art. The Dodge Seneca brought affordability to full-size Dodge buyers. No frills, just honest value wrapped in clean 1960s styling. And the Chevrolet Parkwood wagon gave families one more stylish Chevy option. By 1960, wagons weren't just for hauling. They had become part of the American identity. The Pontiac Tempest brought something new to the streets. Compact, efficient, but still carrying Pontiac pride, it was a car built for the changing decade. Chevrolet's El Camino blurred the lines between car and truck. One moment it was hauling lumber. The next, it was cruising Main Street looking as sharp as any sedan. The Ford Ranchero offered its own take on the car-truck idea. Practical in the bed, stylish in the front. It proved you didn't have to choose between work and play. The Chrysler Saratoga carried presence without being over the top. Smooth lines, a strong V8, and enough comfort to make long drives feel easy. Dodge's Dart Phoenix brought sportiness into Dodge's lineup. It was the kind of car younger drivers wanted when they saw it sitting at the dealership lot. The Mercury Meteor gave buyers a sleek, mid-priced option. It wasn't the flashiest, but it had a clean look that aged gracefully. Studebaker's Wagoneer stood out for its sliding rear roof panel, innovative, practical, and ahead of its time, something no other car dared to do. The Rambler Ambassador carried the flag for American motors, big enough to feel important, small enough to feel manageable. It proved AMC could play in the big leagues. Chevrolet's Corvair Monza added a sporty edge to the quirky Corvair line. Bucket seats, sharp trim, and a car that felt ready for fun. Pontiac's Bonneville convertible was the summer cruiser of dreams. Long body, chrome everywhere, and the top dropping down at the push of a button. The Buick Electra 225, better known as Deuce and a Quarter, was luxury with muscle. It was a car that looked at home in front of a country club or roaring down the interstate. The Oldsmobile Holiday Coupe was classy but sporty, the perfect blend for drivers who didn't want to compromise. Ford's Galaxy Sunliner turned every summer drive into a parade. Shiny, bold, and built for people who wanted to be noticed. The Plymouth Suburban wagon gave families reliability they could count on. It wasn't glamorous, but it was the car that carried everyday America forward. Cadillac's Coupe de Ville was pure American luxury. Wide seats, soft ride, and an exterior that looked like sculpture. It was the car of dreams for thousands. The Dodge Dart Pioneer gave middle America an affordable way into Dodge style. It might not have been flashy, but it was a steady companion. The Chrysler Imperial Crown Convertible was the car you'd see in magazines. Bold, elegant, and dripping with chrome. It was America, showing off. The Mercury Turnpike Cruiser, though fading by 1960, was still remembered for its futuristic styling. With its jet-age curves and rooftop gadgets, it looked like something out of tomorrow. Studebaker's Champ continued proving trucks could have personality. It wasn't the biggest seller, but those who had one never forgot it. And the Chevrolet Impala Supersport began making waves, hinting at the muscle car era just around the corner. Sporty trim, bucket seats, and a name that still makes hearts race today. Picture yourself rolling into the 1960s, a golden era when the open road symbolized freedom, adventure, and pure American style. The cars of this time weren't just vehicles, they were works of art, cultural icons and pieces of history that defined an entire generation. And as we close this nostalgic ride, let's dive into the last batch of classics that made 1960 unforgettable. You couldn't miss the Chrysler 300F, a powerhouse of speed and elegance that turned heads everywhere. The Buick Electra showed up with its futuristic look, stretching longer and sleeker than most cars of its time. Meanwhile, the Plymouth Fury carried that unmistakable tail-fin swagger that made you feel like you were driving something straight out of a sci-fi film. Then there was the Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz, pure luxury, with chrome that gleamed like a diamond. For the family crowd, the Chevrolet Parkwood wagon was the trusty companion of suburban life. The Ford Thunderbird kept evolving, blending sport and luxury into one irresistible package. Let's not forget the Studebaker Lark, small but mighty, proving that compact cars had a place in America's garages. The Oldsmobile Dynamic 88 cruised with effortless power, while the Mercury Monterey showed off style with every curve. And of course, the Chevrolet Corvette continued to shine as the dream car for those who crave speed and freedom. As you drove down Route 66, these cars weren't just machines, they were part of the American dream, symbols of ambition, style, and hope. From the massive fins of Plymouth to the elegance of Cadillac, each one carried its own story, a memory of a time when every drive felt like an adventure. The 1960s were a turning point, a bridge between the flashy optimism of the 50s and the bold experimentation that was yet to come. And these cars? They captured it all. The dreams, the style, and the spirit of an unforgettable era. So, when you look back, which one of these legendary rides would you choose to drive if you had the chance?